everybody, this is Dave with D&E Performance coming to you from the office with another video on the Chevy Cruze flex fuel conversion. So I was able to go back after the first attempt of just making sure, well, not attempt, but the first gallon and a half, just to make sure that everything was functioning and working like you saw in the other video. So I went back, I dropped 5 gallons of E into the tank, and I ended up getting roughly about 66.7% alcohol content. The car was running good until, so I drove it around, I don't know, I put probably about 20 or 30 miles on it. But in between, there was some points where I don't know if it was due to, I'm pretty sure it was lean, because as you can see in the virtual VE table here, it's anywhere from about 15 to 10% lean. There's some spots where it's taken out about 5, 6, especially in the cruising area, right around here, about 24, 25. I'm sorry, between 24 and 2600 RPM. That's mostly where you're cruising at. Down low, it was actually having to add some fuel in. And then this area right here, this is all the idle. So it was really having to, it was having to add almost 30% in. So I think this was a problem area. As far as the tune was just really, really lean. Well, not really lean, but it was lean enough to cause this idle. It's hard to explain. It would more like it only happened every once in a while, but as you're coming to a stop and you're pushing in the clutch, it has this idle cliff. It's called an idle cliff, where the RPM shoot up really high, and then it hangs there for a second, and then it ends up cliff diving off, and the car almost stalls out. And I just think that was because the idle portion, of the VE table was so lean that the computer's trying to find a point in the map where it's not so lean. But it wouldn't happen all the time. It would just happen every so often. But as you can see right here, it would shoot to like 2,500 RPM, and you can see I'm at a dead stop because there's no speed being recorded right here. But you can see it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very long. See, as you can see, I come to the stop, push the clutch in, and then it just kind of hangs there for a second, and then all of a sudden it's just like a cliff, and it just dives right off. And then you can see right here the car almost stalls. It almost just stalls out. It's nothing that can't be fixed. So I think the next time around, what I'm gonna do is, let's go over here to the tune. We're gonna go to the storage table. Let's go back over here to the storage table. See if this will come up. Come on. Okay, so in between this area right here, because this is where I was getting the most ethanol content, was in between 68.8. I was getting 66.7, so this would probably be the area where I'd want to go in here and just pretty much fatten up the storage table a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fatten up the storage table, and then dump a new tune into it, and then find out if that's what our problem is. At this point, I really don't feel like I need to go into the virtual VE table and cut out the spots that it needs to be cut out. I feel like everything can be done right here, and I'll just leave the virtual VE table alone. Another thing is the car ran really good with when I dumped that gallon and a half in there on top of the gasoline, and I dumped it on top of 87. I was getting alcohol content of about 47.1 or something like that, and the car ran phenomenal on that much ethanol. So I think that would almost be that's it's a 50% blend. So probably I would have to do the ratio math or whatever to figure out how much I would have to drop in, and then how much gasoline to drop in. So it'll probably be I think the tank is 12 gallons. So I probably have to drop 6 gallons of E compared to 6 gallons of gas, and that would probably give me that split. Um, but it ran really good on the 47, and then when I went to the full ethanol, I was just running into, uh, you know, it just running really. It just seems like it was running really lean. As far as the car did pick up more power. Let me see if I can. Oh, that was another thing too. Is the clutch was slipping because the car was making more power. The stock clutch couldn't handle. I wasn't really making that much more power, but it's just the stock clutch just couldn't handle it. I was still getting some knock retard on certain drivability things, but I think that's just because the tune was lean, and it needed to we needed to add some fuel in there. That's also a sign of the injectors not being properly sized for the E. So most likely we're gonna get lean spikes. I'm trying to see if we can see if there's a pull here. There's a 4,000. Maybe over here I did a pull. I think right here maybe. Yeah, here we go. So that was another thing too. Is I was telling you I was trying to keep an eye. I was trying to keep an eye on the injector, how much injector I was using. Excuse me, I just trying to find the tune, or I'm sorry, a pull. Trying to find a pull that I went all the way out. There we go. Okay, so I took it pretty much. I got the limiter set at 6,600 RPM, but it seems like it cuts off right about 64. That's when it hits the limiter. But you can see right here, and also on the table, if you look at the table on the pull, right here on the virtual VE graph. So as I lay into it, there's absolutely no, fueling is just spot on up top. It's only adding, a half a percent, three-quarter of a percent of fuel, which is spot on. But the cruise, the drivability and idle portion of the map, um, that's where I think it needs the help, or it needs the extra. So I mean, even if I did fatten it up 5% or 10%, it's probably only going to pull maybe 2 or 3% up top. I would just have to see how much it's going to pull out. Because obviously, if you fatten up the tune, the computer's long term is probably going to want to pull some fuel out. But it's better to be fat and happy than lean and not you know on lean and on the side of the road. I guess I don't know. I can't come up with anything that rhymes with that. But anyway, um, so yeah, you can see right here. This is completely the stock injector, and we're using 76.6% of it. Um, yeah, so pretty much we're using almost 80% of the injector. Um, Again, I'm probably going to do this not now. I already went and dumped gasoline back in the tank, and everything's functioning the way it should. Went and checked just to make sure that the ECU flattened back out, or I'm sorry, flattened back out. It went back and was able to reverse back to the gasoline ethanol content, and it did. Another thing too is the power output. So right here wasn't really the strongest pull. As you can see, the one I was just using as a example, I don't know what happened. I think maybe I hit the rev limiter too soon or something happened, but um, we weren't making, we were only making 135 here. That's about the most I can. Another thing too is the torque curve on some of these pulls. The horsepower and torque were pretty much spot on, as you can see. Um, as you can see right here, the horsepower is 135.2, and then the torque is pretty much the same. If we look at this pull right here, this pull, we gained a little bit more. See if I can zoom in here. So we did 140, about 140 horsepower with 141 horsepower. And again, we're only using, at the 57. So the peak horsepower we're almost 70% of the injector, which is not bad. We're not using all the injector, even revving it all the way out. Taking it all the way out to where I set the rev limiter. It's not. It's not using all the injector. We're not completely, at 100% duty cycle. There was some pulls because I was recording for a long period of time, and right here I think this might be the pull where I saw 160 horsepower, but when I looked at the wheel speed, this is how I know the clutch was slipping. Let's see where the wheel speed is. Cold air intake. You'll probably be able to see more power gains. I cannot find the wheel speed here. But anyways, let's see if I can find a charts versus time on the wheel speed. But anyways, the wheel speed, see right here, we're at 54, or I'm sorry, 54. We're at 6,400 RPM, so I hit the limiter right here. But if you look at the wheel speed, I'm barely at 60 miles an hour, and most of the time, the car is topping out, right around that mid 80s area. So I know the clutch, I know the clutch was slipping right here. I mean, it was, the top was 60. I got excited when I saw this, and then I was like, man, I can't believe the car actually made that. But it all boiled down to, after I looked at the wheel speed, that the clutch was actually slipping. So actually, the clutch slipped right here. Yep, that's the power coming back down. The curve's still carrying out, so the clutch just completely slipped right there, and it finally caught. And then here's another one. So I don't know if we're going to see the same peak power. There might have been some. Usually when I see the 140 area, it's usually due to maybe a little bit of spark retard. Actually, there's no spark retard. Let's see, that's the wrong spark retard map. So we're actually not seeing any spark retard. Let's see if it's carrying it out. No, we saw a little bit of spark retard, but that's nothing to. So right in this area right here, we saw a little bit of spark retard. But I mean, 140 seems to be normal. On the gasoline, it was usually right around 120, 123, 124, somewhere in that range. So just by dropping the E in, we gain that much more power on the top end. Of course, you're using a lot more of the injector, and we're taxing out the fuel system. But again, I'm kind of curious to see what the car would do. Kind of curious to see what the car would do with a exhaust system and possibly a cold air intake. That would be the next thing, and then drop the E on it. But first things first would be to sort out to drop another tank of E on it, and then sort the tune out a little bit more, and just see if we can't get rid of that rev hanging cliff dive thing that it does every once in a while. on the E. And like I said, I just think that that's just due to that's just due to the map being too lean. Another thing too is right at the top here. So um, I've got the base spark map in my histograms, and we're running about 18 degrees. You can see. See, there's a little bit of knock retard right here, just a little, not very much. But that was one thing on the E that I saw that made the difference. Was there was you get away from the knock retard for sure. I mean, there's not that much knock. Let's see the flex. So actually the flex table's adding in about almost 4 degrees in here, and then the inlet air temp advanced is adding in some too. So it's giving us a total of 18.1 degrees, and that's pretty much at the top. That's 5,600 RPM, and we are using about 70% of the injector. So this this car doesn't make a whole lot of power. I really wasn't looking to do a race car out of this thing or anything, but I feel like there's quite a bit left still on the table with this 1.8. I know it takes a lot of bolt-ons and certain things to do to get just 250 horsepower out of the 1.4, but I feel like the 1.8, just because of the bigger displacement, is probably going to make more power. Mostly this video was just, sorry for rambling on, mostly this video was just based on the ethanol, the E85, and what I need to do as far as the scaling, to try to fix this map. And what my plan of attack is to try to fix it the next time I go out and drive the car around on E85, and I just want to see if this is going to work. So I've already got 10 gallons pushed through the car with E. Hopefully the next 10 gallons I put in the car, I'll be able to sort some of this other stuff out, and then be able to have that versatility of either running gasoline or running E85 with the car. Again, this is Dave with D&E Performance. Hope you guys like this video. If you do, share it, like, and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have any insight on any of this stuff, or you have any extra information you want to share, go ahead and see the comments below. Again, this is Dave with D&E Performance, and thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the flip.